Welcome to Empirical Pea Pod. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. If you could, please subscribe, follow, share, like, comment, whatever the hell happens when we do these things. I'm your host, Tim Day. Let's get to the show.
I feel like I'm that way for the most part anyway.
Do you?
Why? Was I talking shit already?
I like to think that shit just exudes from you.
It probably does, but then that's also ADHD, so you gotta backtrack and be like, oh, sorry. Like one time, what did I do? I did I hadn't seen my cousin in a really long time. She's not really like blood cousin or anything, but like a few weeks ago, I went to karaoke at Bulldog Cellar in Batavia, where I like to go, and like this girl was singing, and I'm like, yes, so I'm walking through, and I'm just like, yeah, da, 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 and all of a sudden I hear her say to someone about me, that's your cousin, and I was like, wait a minute. And I had to look at her, and I hadn't even drank a fucking drop yet, and it was my cousin Jessica, and she was talking to her son, that I had not seen since he was 9 months old.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, I used to wipe your ass. And he was just like, I'm like, what? And then she's like, said something about his aunt or someone did that to him, but to embarrass him and like said it a little extra than I did.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry then. Like at least I'll realize it if I don't and just apologize and be like, yeah, I'm sorry. My bad, dude. Because I don't like people feeling shitty about what I say. So, yeah, a lot comes out of my mouth, but I do apologize.
I feel like you have a filter.
I don't.
But at least you can be self-aware after.
I try to be.
Yeah. I get described as sharp. And I don't ever mean to hurt anybody's feelings ever, so...
I'm just blunt.
I often have to say things and then wade through them and be like, well, here's what I really meant.
Right.
Because you're going to be a baby about it otherwise.
Yeah. I'm just blunt. Anybody who knows me knows I'll basically just say it how it is, and I'll be humorous about it.
Sure. Sometimes you can probably take the BL away and add a C, but that's different.
Yeah.
All right. So today we're here with Kim Smith, I know you as. What is your last name now? Schatz? That's just too on the nose.
Makes sense, right?
Hi! Is that your... Did you just... Because you were married, actually.
Yes, that was my married name, yes.
Yeah. You never wanted to go back to Smith? Or just too much of a pain in the ass?
No, I guess, in a sense, I felt like I earned that last name, and I would like to keep the same last name as my children until...
Yeah, that's fair
maybe
enough,
life changes or otherwise, but, my kids are a Schatz, I'm a Schatz.
Yeah.
Went through a lot to get it, so...
Do you guys co-parent well?
Not really, honestly.
Yeah.
Through the court system, he provides for his children. I will give him that.
Sure.
He takes them when he is supposed to, and he, keeps up on what he needs to keep up on financially. Anything aside from that, not really.
So, can we talk about, too, how we even ended up here?
Yes.
As our friend Josh Diekman so horribly put when I recorded with him, you're the lesbian chick from high school.
Yeah.
There's only one, for starters.
Well, the only one? No, not quite. But, yes, I was one of them, for sure.
So, how did you end up married then? Now, there's the stereotype of, you're going to grow out of it, right? Which is not what happened whatsoever. No. Just life went the way it was, and you're like, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah, I still love women. That never will change.
They're great.
Yeah, yes, they are. Yeah. But at that point in time in my life, I connected with my ex-husband. Like, we had a connection. It happened out of nowhere.
Yeah. Where did you guys meet?
We actually met through my little brother's friend. In a very we won't talk about exactly how we met, but through trade-offs, we met through my little brother's friend, and then ended up becoming friends ourselves for a while, actually, for a good 6 months to a year. And then just, one drinking night later, curiosity got the cat, and
literally
3 kids later. But it was quick, so, literally, you just... I was pregnant within 6 weeks of us dating 2 months. So it was fast.
What a weird math equation. You just hurt my brain. You were pregnant within 6 weeks of dating 2 months.
So we were dating 2 months. We found out I was 6 weeks pregnant.
Oh,
There is
okay.
ADHD dyslexia for you.
Yeah. Perfect. Then did you guys get married after the first one, or did you kind of just wait?
We waited. We actually got married when I was pregnant with the second one. Mm-hmm. Never get married for insurance purposes.
Sure.
Learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
But we had 3 beautiful children. I love my kids. They're amazing. Yeah. So, tough being a mama, but
sure.
Yeah.
Especially single. How long were you guys married?
We were married for 11 years.
That's
separated
a really, really long
in
time.
2012.
Yeah.
Haven't been together since then, and officially divorced in 2015, I think.
So you were married for a really long time. Mm-hmm. Like, I couldn't imagine. I've never had a relationship anywhere near that long.
Yeah,
I still consider that a success, despite the way it
to
went.
a sense, yeah. I mean, we were together, and it is what it is now. But
yeah. Also, you're in a boot. What did you do to your foot?
So, I was leaving a job with all my photography. I'm a photographer, so leaving a job with all my photography equipment.
Is that your only job? Like,
yes, I've been.
I remember back in the day, you've always been amazing at photography.
Thank you.
And that is what you do
Yep.
for income? That's awesome.
Yep. And she already knows this, but I paid that to Tribute and Jessica Thibodeau because she actually inspired me when I was in high school.
Yeah.
To kind of go that route, and she knows I love her to pieces, and I tell her and I told her daughter recently when I did their her senior photos.
I saw that.
I'm like, your mother is why I do what I do.
Yeah, she's got such an amazing eye for art.
Oh God, that woman is amazing.
Dude, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
She's one of the most incredible people in general, and I'll leave it at that.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She is a amazing human being. She always has been, even back in the day.
Yeah.
She's so artistic, and I just love her to pieces. Like, she is such a pure person, and yeah. So she's the one that got me into photography, and
she's also a hard ass and a dick.
Who?
In the best way, like where she'll take the piss out of you, and you're like, you're kind of awesome.
Oh my God, I wouldn't call her a dick, but yeah.
I would. And I mean it in the most loving way.
I love you, Jess. So anywho, long story short, I was leaving a photography job and I stepped down real hard off a curb and put all my pressure on my heel.
Wait, you just stepped down off
yeah,
of
because
a curb.
this bitch is getting old, so...
Seen a lot of mileage here.
Yeah, apparently so, especially my feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stepped down hard and ended up, I felt a pinch or some kind of sharp pain, and I was actually in between places. And I went to go kill my time to go shopping for a minute and realized I could not walk on my foot. So I went straight to the emergency room. I didn't believe them because they x-rayed me and said they saw no fractures. I was right. I went and got a second opinion, and there sure was one. So, and
just a fracture?
It's a fracture and a spur. So I forget how they described it, but there's like ligaments connecting underneath your foot so you can flex it. So it's not the actual heel bone.
Right.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But there is a piece that came out, and then it got fractured.
Damn.
So basically, they call it a spur because it kind of sticks out like one. So I got about 6 weeks with the boot on. Luckily, no surgery. I've been babying the hell out of it. You see, I got a scooter.
The scooter's kind of nice.
Yeah, I pimped my ride for sure. Yeah. I got twinkle lights all over it.
It's pretty sick.
Wait, hold on. I'll show you. Nobody else can see it, but I'll show it to him.
Yeah, I like when people mime stuff on the podcast. Okay, that is actually awesome.
So, like, it's a glowing disco ball of twinkle LED lights, and I can make it whatever really I want.
That's pretty cool. You go down the neighborhood at night?
Oh, God. I go out with this. I have went and played. This is my new lights, though. Nobody's seen these yet, so you're the first. Nice. But I have been to the bar once, and I also am a captain of 2 league teams for billiards.
Playing with your foot?
Well, I tried once. It didn't work out too well. So I'm going to wait one more week. But then, yes, I will.
How many more weeks do you have with the boot?
About 6.
6 more?
This is a week old today.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. This just happened.
This just happened.
Yeah. That's wild.
So yeah, of course, I've never changed with bright colors and,
Yeah.
you know.
Whenever I think of a rainbow, you're like a rainbow.
Aw, I'll take that. I will take that.
Yeah. So, after high school, did you go to college?
No, so after high school, I kind of lived the life I was in high school for quite some time. So as we all know, anybody who hung out with us, we were all a bunch of partiers.
Yeah.
You know, I was definitely a raver. Not too many cares other than for the people who were close to me, just having a good time and, you know, had a very adult life, very young, very adult.
Now, when you say
life.
that, what do you mean?
I was a total drug addict.
Yeah. Like an adult.
Like an adult. Horrible to say, but I did that very early in life. You know, just partying, going to raves, being on the hardest things that we possibly could be. You know, fuck around and find out kind of lifestyle, and we found out.
Did you ever have to go to any sort of rehab, or did you end up just kind of growing out of it?
I never went to rehab for that. I ended up I tell my oldest son he saved my life because I was very heavy into a lot of things when I found out I was pregnant, and that stopped me cold turkey.
Yeah.
Who knows what would have happened if, you know, everybody has their waves, especially if you've lived an addict's lifestyle.
Sure.
You know, there's never just a consistent wagon to stay on. Everybody slips up, but he saved my life at that point in time because I had to quit, and then I had to be a mom. And then, you know, little dabbles here and there, but, you know, I always told myself, because of some things that I was around consistently as a child, that I would never, you know, be certain ways in front of my children.
Right.
So if I ever fell off the wagon, it was never around them or when I knew they were coming, you know. Sure. So
did you grow up in a house with addicts?
I grew up not necessarily my personal house that I knew of as a child.
Yeah.
But very close, like aunts, uncles, cousins, you know, lots of family members that I was taken out of one state, you know, to live in another state because certain ways my mom didn't want me to live in our family.
So you bounced around when you were younger?
I bounced around a lot, actually.
So when did you end up in Oswego?
End of my freshman year, but I didn't start the high school until my sophomore year.
Oh, okay. That's actually, because that's probably when we would have met.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were brand new to the place as well.
Yeah, I was pretty brand new. I was pretty brand new. We came from Addison, and I had lived out there.
Quite a trek.
Yeah. My mom had met her husband when we lived out in Addison, and then we all, as a family, moved to Boulder Hood together.
Yeah, I still drive by the old house.
Okay. Sometimes I'll just go by Afton and be like, and I lived there, and Tom lived there, and Nick lived
and
there,
Jess lived down the street
Castros
there too.
lived there, Jess, Ishmael, everybody, freaking Justin Starcher, Michael motherfucking Berry.
Yeah.
Or no, not Michael motherfucking Berry. No, it was... Micus Mueller. That was it.
Micus.
We were all basically an I formation of that street.
Yeah.
Like a whole bunch of us lived on that street.
Yeah. Is anybody still there, do you think?
No, not on that street. I don't think so.
There's a wave of a bunch of people moving back there now.
Oh, really? That's funny. I know
wild.
people who live in Boulder Hood now, but not anybody from back in the day. Oh, you know what? I do know someone that lives out there from back in the day. Megan Shield and her family lives out there.
Oh, nice.
But as far as anybody else, no.
Me neither. Well, even when people move back there, I'm like, don't.
Right, yeah, please.
But whatever's good. Like, people love it.
It was Boulder Hood for a reason.
Yeah, some people love it, which is great. But so then after high school, so did you start doing photography right after high school?
Close. Well, not really. I started actually doing it and starting my professional career when my daughter was like 6 weeks old.
Okay.
So I had a lot of family and friends kind of give me a little shove just in the way I took photos and the way I took photos of people and how I handled it and, you know, just my eye view of it in general. And they were like, you should just start charging. So I self-educated. I taught myself how to do it, and I just kind of jumped in and went from there. I started basically in the music industry, actually, which was amazing, because me and my ex-husband had a record label.
You guys had a record label?
Yeah, we did. We actually had a studio in downtown Aurora on Stolp. It was called Ill State Records.
That's ridiculous.
We did actually really good. We had a couple amazing artists. We did a lot of record release parties. We had Twista open up for us one time. Nobody seems to remember Ben One, but he was on one of our tracks. And that was pretty cool to be in the booth with him because at the time, he was kind of like a one-hit wonder. He's still around. Anytime I mention him, nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about.
Was it all hip-hop stuff?
Yeah, it was hip-hop and R&B and stuff like that.
had like a bunch of amazing bands.
Oh, God, yeah.
And nobody ever knew you had a record label.
Yeah, well, you know, but everybody had a band in like either like punk or ska or rock or something like that. And when I had married my ex-husband, we were, you know, he was ghetto fabulous as well at the time. And hip hop was it. And I had always been into drum and bass and raving and jungle and stuff, so that fit kind of right in.
Sure.
And like I liked hip hop because opposed to rap, in my opinion, hip hop tells a story, like a realistic story.
Hip hop's awesome.
Rap talks about
it's
like
hard to explain
wanting to get things and
it's hard to explain to people the difference.
Yeah.
But like, I'm with it. I love hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop comes from the heart, like and rap just talks about, you know, things. And that's my opinion, and that's how I do it. So yes, we had a record label for quite some time, and we almost made it. We were starting to get on WGCI and
what does
everything.
That mean? You almost made it?
Because right before me and him got our divorce, we were having top names on our, we had a couple top names on our records. We were starting to get played on GCI. People were starting to notice, and we had an amazing artist, New York, who I love to pieces, that had an album called All Signs Says Yes. And basically, to me, and how I always described it, especially one particular song, was called Have a Good Time. It was like a hip-hop hug. No. It was just like, it was so pure and happy and had like such a good like beat to it, and it was just like, that's like my favorite song of all times that came from New York. And then and we were right there, everybody was loving that album. And I feel like when me and him got divorced, he kind of threw it all away.
Really? So you just kind of disbanded the whole thing? Or just stopped doing anything? In a sense.
So he changed religious views and decided that it was evil and against his religion.
Changed his religious views? Did he have religious views before that?
Not really.
Do you have religious views?
I'm spiritual.
Whatever that means, right?
Yeah. It just means that
it's different for everybody.
I am not in one box. Like I will love all the same. I believe in trusting my intuition and signs around me and paying attention to it and doing, you put out what you're getting back.
Sure.
So if you put out that you're a piece of shit, you're going to get back that you're a piece of shit.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of pieces of shit don't realize that.
Of course not. And that's most of the time why, they, have an interesting time in their lives.
So he kind of became
I believe in karma.
He kind of became born again.
Yes.
And
I don't want to talk negative about that in general because that's a good journey for a lot of people.
Well, if that's what he needed.
But it was not a good journey for us. So.
Is that why you were still thinking like the tail end?
That was after, like.
Okay.
Like I had already moved out.
Yeah.
I had already moved out.
Right. So after that kind of folds in for whatever reason, because was there any intention of you guys working as a separated couple and still trying to do the record label?
No, so like he was like I was the photographer for everything as far as like finances and, the aspects of the business went and everything like that, that was him and his top artists.
Yeah.
So
you only
but
did photography.
I really
You didn't do
only
any of the
did
recording or
photography,
anything.
and then yeah, basically. And then, I was the one person, if they couldn't get to Adam, talk to Adam, or, he's busy
Sure.
or something, they'd come to me so I could get a hold of him.
I gotta think that you at least were able to build a decent portfolio, like a really good portfolio.
Yeah, I did. And I loved working in the music industry. I loved all my artists that I worked with. It was so inspiring. It definitely helped me create myself as an artist with my photography.
Yeah.
It helped me grow. I mean, obviously, that's where I planted my seed, and I went from there. And I've been actually trying to get back into the music industry because I love working with artists.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I mean,
When you say you're trying to get back into the music industry,
I'd like to photograph bands and artists again.
sure. Like, is it literally just a thought, or
No, it's not just a thought.
What does that
I've
look
been,
like trying to get back into that?
So I actually know a few bands and stuff. So
Sure.
it's just me. It's just time and place, really. But
Yeah.
it'll happen.
Sure.
But that's not going to be I don't want that to be my only thing. So my
Yeah.
forte is babies and families and teenagers, senior photos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also love doing a lot more artsy things,
Sure.
like boudoir, or just nature in general, or
Yeah.
anything that catches my eye.
Yeah.
But I just I love music. I bleed, live, and breathe music,
Sure.
other than photography. So to have them both together,
Yeah, put them together is awesome.
is amazing. Yeah.
I noticed you didn't say weddings.
Yeah, no.
How much of a pain in the ass is it to do a wedding?
Actually, it's depends on the bride and groom.
Sure, yeah. And where it's at, and the size and scope.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I actually had a situation. I actually like weddings. I love the whole
I
lovey-dovey
love
thing.
going
I
to
think they're
weddings,
great. I
yeah.
love going to weddings as
Yeah.
well. But there was one particular wedding that turned me off because I had the worst bride and groomzilla ever, and literally so I'll tell you the story. So anyway, this was a couple that I knew because I was a waitress at a local bar, and the husband really knew me, and I had met the bride already. They both knew me from the bar.
Sure.
And they were getting married, and I was suggested as a photographer. So they signed me on. We did the contract. I was happy because it's something I know, and usually, that usually works out pretty good. So the day of the wedding comes, and first of all, we were treated horribly. Basically, so if you have a photographer or a DJ or anything at any kind of services at your wedding that is not the catering service,
Yeah.
It is basically supposed to be written in contract, or automatically you feed them.
Sure.
You feed them. You make sure
Yeah.
they're also taken care of. They're not there to work 8 to 12 hours.
Right. They're essentially
starving.
another guest that has a job to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
treat them well.
Sure.
You never really want to mess with the people who are helping run your special day. Not that anything would have happened with that, but yeah, we were definitely not treated very well, and no consideration of timing. There was no timing to do any of the extra photos, and they would not feed us. So is what it is. We went through it. I still did my job.
Usually, as a photographer, it'd be like, all right, the package for the day is whatever it is.
Right.
Not just go willy-nilly with the time.
Right. Yes.
Because it starts becoming not lucrative whatsoever.
Right.
Once it takes so long.
And this was also kind of a while ago, so it was maybe my third wedding, so I was still kind of learning what my contract was going to look like permanently.
Did you write your own contract?
Yeah, for the most part.
Kind of learning that trial and error?
Yeah, because the contracts really kind of pertain to each person. There's no uniform contract because it goes off of your needs as a person, as a business owner.
Right.
This is the deal, this is how I work, and do you agree to that?
Right.
And that's basically what it is. So I realized I did not have in my contract, nor did I think I needed to have feed us. So that helped me learn that lesson. But anywho, so I did my job. We ended up actually having a photo booth there too. It was my first time having a photo booth, and that was a disaster. But that part I had asked, I was like, look, I just got a photo booth. I'm not going to charge you for it. Can I do a test drive for it at your wedding?
Yeah.
Yes, fine. So I pertain no problem. Like, I had some issues with that one, but it also did not charge them, and it was just something fun and extra that they ended up getting.
So you have a photo booth?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay, you had a photo booth. Pain in the ass to maintain and keep.
It wasn't. It was just that, like,
not worth the money.
For
you brought in?
one person, I needed to hire another person or two.
Yeah.
To do it, and life was kind of crazy right then. So fast forward after the wedding, I tell them 6 to 8 weeks to get your photo. I'm a single mom. I got a life.
Sure. Yeah.
Things happen.
I also feel like that's not out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
In general.
At the 6-week mark, I had just moved into this house too, so that was already a lot going on.
Yeah.
I lost my dad.
That's a kick in the balls. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it might have been at the 5-week mark. I don't know. It was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Of my time frame to get them their photos, and he was supposed to be not like a close friend, but definitely someone I knew.
Sure. Yeah.
So empathy, you would think.
You would think. Yeah.
So I send them one sample photo. It's like, this one's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I send it to the bride and the groom. You get a message back saying, don't send me samples, give me my photos. And I was like, oh. I was like, I'm working on them, but yeah, I just wanted to show you one of my favorites. I'm sorry.
Which is also normal.
Yes.
To be like, hey, we're progressing. Like, here's an idea of what it's starting to look like.
Yeah. So then she goes on to banter me on Facebook. Now, let's keep in mind, this wasn't even to the 6-week mark yet.
Sure.
So she goes on Facebook and publicly defames me.
Defames you?
Like, totally banters me.
When you say banter, do you mean berate?
Berate. Okay. Yes, I'm not using my words
right.
That's all right. All right. Yes, that word. So she goes on social media and just totally just slams me and my business and everything. They call the Better Business Bureau. They get me a mark on my Better Business on the Better Business Bureau.
Did they successfully do that?
Oh yeah, and then oh wait, it gets better. It gets better. By better, I mean worse. So I explained to them, I'm like, okay, I'm working on your photos. And I'm sorry that you're not getting them before the 6-week mark, but I did tell you this amount of time frame. Also, I just lost my father, and I will be giving them to you on my way to his funeral.
Right.
Like, quite literally. And I did. I did. I gave that. I mean, it took a little longer, but I am single mom, 3 kids, just moving into a house, just lost my dad, have to go to his funeral, have to drop off the photos on the way.
Well, plus, there's responsibilities, too, with having to do a funeral. Also, not to mention the emotional impact. Also, I don't know how close you guys were, but having to deal with 3 children going through the same loss, like, it's a lot.
Yeah. So I give them their pictures, and, I'm thinking, all right, done. All right, bye.
Wash my
hands of that shit. Yeah, no. Give me a year later, 1 year later. This continues. I'm getting into my car, and some dude walks up to me. I noticed him parked outside my house, and I'm like, okay. I'm getting in my car, and he's like, are you Kim Schatz? Now, me not being in the lifestyle I was in as a teenager, I'm naively saying, yes, I am.
What's this about? What do you want?
You have been served. They are suing me.
What?
So, they are suing me because the videographer they had took their money and ran.
The videographer?
Yes.
Took his money and ran.
Yes.
So they sued you.
Because I unfortunately was the one to refer them to Darius, the videographer.
Yeah.
And I had known him for years, so sure. I never thought he was someone. I wouldn't have done that if I would have known that.
Well, right, yeah.
But we were 2 different entities. Like, we were coming as 2 completely different companies.
Right.
And so I guess what he did was he had them meet him at McDonald's and said they met him and gave him the money and said, okay, I'll be right back with the SD card or the US whatever. I'll be back with the video.
Right.
And never came back.
Wow.
So they're suing me, and they want all these things to happen because of that. So I proudly go to court. Oh God, yeah. I go to, and also let's be aware that I did not know that before I went to court.
Before you went to court,
Before I went to court, I did not know about
he
the
took the money
videographer.
and fucked off.
Yes.
Wow.
All I knew is they were suing me.
Sure.
And my company.
And you still went proudly.
Oh God. I was like, God, I gotta see what's happening here. Yeah. Yeah, because I did everything and above that I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And they were horrible. So like I go to court and I'm sitting in there and they're there. And, like, we go up to the judge, and she's like, okay, so are you Kim with Photoshots Photography? I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, where is Darius of whatever he said his videography was? I'm like, oh.
Wow.
I was like, I don't.
It doesn't have anything to do with it.
I don't know. And then she looks at the bride and groom. She goes, you do realize that they're two different entities, correct? And they're like, yes. They're like, so, like, you know that the photographer and the videographer, their things are not the same. Right. And they're like, yes. And she's like, okay, please tell me what happened. Okay. And that's when they go, you know, they were upset that it took the full 8 weeks to get their photos, which didn't even matter. And that they wanted prints of every single photo, which never was in the contract, and I always do digital. Yeah. That was never said or agreed upon. And then they were like, also, she had referred us to so-and-so, Darius, for videography, and he robbed us. And then she was like, again, she's not the videographer. She's not that company. Yeah. So did she do what was said on the contract? And they were like, yes. And so I walked out with them, and I was like, why didn't you guys tell me that happened, for one? Not that it really mattered, but at that time, I might have been able to help you find him. Sure. You know, because it was still pretty fresh. Yeah. And they were just like, oh, no. And I kind of felt bad about it. And not that it was my fault at all, but just the empathy in me was just like, I'm so sorry. That was your special day. I'm like, you know, I wish you would have talked to me about it. And then they're like, well, how about you just give us prints of all the photos? I'm like, well, that's not happening.
We're like,
but if you'd like to come back to court, we can talk about. So sure enough, they walked away, and there was another court date, and I showed up, and they didn't. And then me and the judge and the liaison, whoever was there that, you know, announces the judge, all just shits and giggling at that point. Like, all right, I'm here. I just missed 2 days of work. Now what? Like, and then they dropped it. But that, for a long story, not short, is why I never again. I don't want to do weddings. I'm really good at weddings. I can do weddings. I'll do friends, maybe family, maybe.
Well, I gotta think it's one of those things that, like, potentially is easy money.
Yeah, no.
But it's not,
it's not at all. Money at all. That's not a potentially at all.
Yeah.
You know, if someone, I applaud every photographer that weddings are their thing, because it's not easy money. It's good money.
Yeah.
That's totally, but it is not easy money. You're dealing with emotions. You're dealing with, like, things that you would never even think about dealing with.
Well, that's when it's tough too to do, because you're like, you just said a second ago too. It's like easy to be like, oh, I'll do it for my friends. Which is less money, but still all the bullshit.
Oh, well, for friends and family, it's usually harder because they expect you to be a certain way with them when, like, you know.
And they expect a discount.
This is my business.
Yeah. Right. And that's what.
I'm not working 5 times as hard, unless you're my child. But then again, I wouldn't be the photographer for my child's wedding because.
We'd be too involved.
I would be in it. That would be my deal.
Yeah. Can you imagine, though, watching somebody else photographer stuff and you just being an asshole about it?
Oh no, I don't do that. No,
you'd be at least like with the eyes watching everything, and making sure they don't miss certain shots.
I can't say that I have. I don't want to say by being an asshole, but I can't say I haven't been the person to be like, what are you doing? And then they'll get in front of me and I'm trying to look at their viewfinder like.
Yeah.
I usually actually make friends with the photographers at other events. I've been to a couple quinces and stuff, and like I'll watch them for a little bit and I'll just be like, oh, I like your work, you know, and just start jib-jab. It's always nice when, like, in your field to befriend people and not be that dickhead to act like you're like better than somebody or anything. Like everybody has different artistic value.
I always compare it to like being in the band years ago. You know, everybody wanted to think they were better than everybody else. I'm like, okay,
right.
But what we want is everybody to be at their highest level, and then the whole industry does well.
Right.
We want to elevate everybody.
Right.
Like, you want the whole scene to look good, not just one band.
Right? Yeah, no kidding.
And then
No,
everybody
I agree.
gets to work.
Right. Right.
What kind of setup do you have
For
photography?
So I do a lot of outdoor stuff. So I have my Canon. I'm a Canon chick, so I got the ADD, and then my speed light for like outside, and then that's actually one of my cases, my lighting cases right there for work.
Nice.
So it's just like a an alien bee and a flash and a what we call a salad bowl. It's a pretty simple setup. Like, honestly, smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Like, this
Just
is
a couple
technically my studio area right here.
Do you do shots in here?
Yeah.
If you're not outside?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have backdrops or like a green screen?
That whole closet is full of all of my backdrops.
Oh,
I
yeah,
got my green screen over there. I've got my butterfly lights.
Those are the lights right there,
yeah. Yeah, I'm in transformation of getting that shit in my garage. And actually having a whole open, this is my studio. It's my office, my studio. It just don't look like much right now because shit keeps happening when I'm like trying to organize it.
It's because you just moved in 10 years ago.
Right. I know. Thank you for understanding, Tim.
There's not even a computer over here either.
Oh, you got a laptop right in front of you, I think. Or no, you don't. Nope, no. I took it in my room.
Oh, you just roll it all on a laptop?
Yeah.
MacBook or
mine's a Lenovo, so Windows.
So Windows. What do you just use? Photoshop or?
No, I use Lightroom.
Oh, nice.
And then if I want to get really creative, I'll use Photoshop. Like I photographed. So like I said, I play billiards. I play pool.
Yeah.
And so last May they had a citywide tournament, and whoever wins that goes to Vegas. And my team didn't make it to citywide, so I got to be the photographer. And there was a few people that were missing. Yeah. And you know, if you can imagine, pool players, we're all a bunch of fun.
Sure.
Most of us have a great sense of humor. So
my friend Lindsay
there
used
was
to
a
play.
few people that were missing,
Yeah.
and I got photos of them and photoshopped them into places. Not normal places usually.
Yeah.
Like my friend Jason Keller, he was in Florida, and his team actually won while he was in Florida. They went to Vegas from that citywide, and he was missing. So I had this lighter of him in the Playtex pants or whatever, and fishnet top, because of course he's funny, and he prints lighters of himself and sells them at his bar of him cross-dressing or being goth or whatever.
That's
dirty
hilarious.
Fucker, I love you. So anywho, so I took a picture of my lighter with him in fishnets and pleather pants and freaking started photoshopping him into the group photos. I got one where someone's licking his beard. I got one where he's looking at someone with the other guy who is missing coming out of his butt crack, like with 2 thumbs up. Like people don't threaten me with a good time. I will do weird shit with your photos with your permission. But yes. We had the other guy that was missing was on my friend Christy and Ben's team, and they had a group photo of them with all their trophies, and their trophies has a little billiard dude like going down for the shot. So like I had sent that photo to him, and I was like, "Here, I put you in the photo," and he's like, "It just looks like a regular photo of just them." I was like, "Are you sure though? Are you sure?" He's like, I look harder. So what I did was I made him the trophy.
Nice.
So instead of the dude shooting the shot, it was him on everybody's trophy. Everybody was holding a trophy, and he was it on all of them. Yeah. So that's what Photoshop's for, is fucking around.
That's awesome. How long have you played billiards?
On APA, I don't know, 3 years now, maybe?
I don't know what that means also.
Oh, that means American Pool Association. So I play...
Oh, like you're on like
a
league.
Higher level.
It's
a league.
Well, like every bar has a league.
Okay. So APA is the pool league of slop and make your 8-ball.
Yeah.
My stomach's growling. I'm going to laugh if your microphone is picking that up.
Yeah. Well, people are going to be like, I think there's a monster.
Something's growling. No, I have my crystals. We're good.
Nice. I was admiring the crystals. Mm-hmm. What's the one around your neck?
This one is turquoise.
Turquoise?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. looks green from here, but I can't
very
tell.
dirty right now.
Yeah.
I don't let it leave my neck.
Yeah. That'll get dirty. Do you have anything to clean? I don't see anything here to cleanse these ones either.
Oh, it's the moon.
Oh, that makes sense. Just in the windowsill like that. I think we did just have a full moon. I'm a big fan of.
Got another one coming too, but yeah, the moon charges them and cleanses them.
Yeah. What's coming?
It's just anything.
No, like you just said another.
Oh.
Oh, another.
Oh
full
yeah,
moon's
another
coming?
full moon's coming.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot coming this month actually.
Yeah. Well, we just came out of a lot of crazy, every retrograde.
We also
at once.
in October have Friday the 13th, a blood moon, and a lunar eclipse.
Yeah. It's kind of exciting. I think.
I know it's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
All about that.
So you're part of APA.
I think it's gonna hurt my stomach.
It's for sure gonna hear your stomach. I can hear it over here. Like, I can feel my chair shake.
I'm hungry.
Why didn't you eat?
I meant to.
Oh, well, that's good enough, I guess.
Today got busy. Today got busy. I was not that hungry 10 minutes ago.
You went to 2 places.
Yeah.
What do you mean today got busy?
Today got busy.
What?
I also had an interesting morning, which we won't
you?
talk about. But yeah, it was a very stressful, interesting morning for a few hours.
Fair enough.
I think I might go eat some. Are there any snacks over there?
Just a bunch of Newports.
Nope, that's not snacks.
No, those are gross.
But yeah, I play for APA.
How long did you say you've been playing?
I've been playing in pool leagues for probably about 3 years.
Okay, yeah. Did you always, when you were younger, you just always love playing? Or did you just start it? I love your fascination with your belly and the odd noises it makes.
It's just so loud right now.
It is.
I've always loved playing pool. I always sucked at it though, but I didn't care. I just liked playing. So I would I used to work at the place I play out of, and I would serve the pool leagues. So I was a server for a while and a bartender. Yeah. And just after, if I'd get off early or after I get off or whatever, I just start playing with them, and they just started giving me some tips and stuff. Sure. So I ended up, after I quit that place, I ended up coming in with 5 people, and they made me captain of my own team. So I had to learn how to be captain and also how to learn, the league. So
are you good now?
I'd like to say I am. So the handicaps go from, scale of 2 to 7. I'm a 2, but...
What does that mean?
It's more like beginner level.
So chess and billiards are my 2 favorite games.
Yeah.
But I'm dog shit at both. And I've never learned the actual things about billiards. So I'm very curious.
So it's the handicaps. So it basically goes off skill levels. So a 2 would be a beginner-ish, and a 7 would be like an expert, 2 to 7.
Oh, that small of a window is like the difference between a beginner and pro? Wow, that's crazy.
So I'm a 2, but I'm a sneaky 2, and what I mean by that is I actually play pretty good.
Do they write it in italics?
And the higher numbers...
Is that how they...
I have been called many times the safety queen, and that's also what I like to call fuck your neighbor. So because I am not strong on my straight-on shots, and I know that now...
You're not strong at being straight, right.
Yeah. Never, actually. Never straight, always forward. I am, however, not too shabby at, if I'm not making my shot, neither are you. So I will place the cue ball where you also, well, my goal is, I don't do it all the time, but my goal is to put the cue ball where you also do not have a shot. Yeah. So I'm good at safeties. I'm pretty good at those. Is
that what that's called then? When the other person
called a safety.
Can't do.
It's a safety when if you don't have a shot and you purposely make a shot that is not to go in the hole, but to place the cue ball somewhere not favorable for your opponent.
Okay.
So if you do that on purpose, and most of the time you can tell if you do.
Yeah, I thought there was rules where you had to hit certain. I guess it depends on the particular game.
Yeah.
That you're playing.
So in APA, the rule is the cue ball has to hit your object ball, and also a ball has to touch a rail. So it touches your object ball. After that point, at some ball has to touch a rail, or it needs to go into the pocket for it not to be a scratch.
Right. Object ball?
Object ball would be like if I'm bigs or stripes.
bigs?
Yeah, there's bigs and littles. So
Bigs. Oh, that makes sense numerically. Back in my day, it was just stripes and solids.
it's stripes and solids, but the solids have a little white
Fair
circle.
enough. That's true.
And the stripes have
I
a big
also
white
like
circle.
bigs and littles way better.
Yeah.
It just sounds better.
So if you are stripes, you have to hit one of your stripes
And then
first.
something has to hit the rail.
And then something at that point has to hit the rail. It could be your ball, any fucking ball.
Yeah.
But if nothing touches the rail after that point, it is a scratch. And then
Yeah.
for APA, it's not in the kitchen like behind the two lines. It's ball in hand. So that means you could pick ball up and put it wherever the hell you want.
That's a very big distinction.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting too. Then, especially if you're good at doing that kind of a shot and still having to hit those requirements first, it's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
See, I like doing that shot because I like to give myself ball in hand.
Right.
Because then I can put it wherever I want. And then maybe I have a better chance of making my shot. Maybe.
Yeah.
It just gives you control of the table.
It makes sense. Well, yeah, like you said, it's really screwing your neighbor pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it only because you have a team? How does that work as far as it's not 1v1 then? Or is
okay,
it?
so how it works is for APA, you can have a team of up to 8 people, no less than 5.
8 people?
Yes.
5 to 8 people, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we play Monday nights on my one team.
Sure.
Every match.
How do you watch Monday Night Raw if you're
I don't.
son of a bitch?
That answered that question immediately. I am my Monday Night Raw. Every league night, 5 players play. You play 5 matches.
Okay.
So you have to it goes off of that. I forgot what the question is.
Well, you were answering it. It's literally how does it work with that kind of a team? Is it then 5? So 5 versus 1 at a time, 1 versus 1.
No, so you don't obviously play your own team. So 2 teams come together. You play 5 people. Okay.
Right.
It just depends on who goes first. You get to pick. All right. So we flip a coin.
Sure.
I win the coin toss. I decide that my team is going to pick the first person to play. So this is where the chess part comes in.
So it is always 1 versus 1.
It's
You don't
1 versus
alternate
1.
every turn.
Yes, it's like
Okay,
I throw
said 2
one
questions
person.
and you said yes. That's not an answer.
Well, we're back to ADHD.
I like that you think we ever left.
No, it never goes away. I have squirrels on squirrels.
Yeah.
So I throw a person, then they decide who they want to play that person. It kind of decides that's where the chess move comes in.
Sure, who's going to verse who?
Each team throws one of their people to face off.
That's where the 5 games comes in.
And then
all 5 people will play.
And then depending on who wins that one, not depending on that, but whoever wins that one, then it's their turn to throw the first person for the next match.
Yeah.
And then I
Keep it
match
even.
them. And that's how that
So if you have a
keeps
team
alternating.
of 8, only 5 still play?
Each Monday, yeah.
On Monday.
You're only allowed to play up to 21 or 23 points as far as handicap goes. So in the night, I cannot play. So say I have I have 8 people. They all have different number handicaps, okay? I'm a 2, I got 3 2s, I got a few 5s, I got a 6.
Yeah.
My math for the night of my players cannot exceed... It's either 21 or 23.
Okay.
So that's where that comes in.
Yeah.
So that's where the chess and the math, and there's way more to it than people think that. And it's really nice too because it's quite a family. I love my pool family. Me being someone who lives in Illinois and I have no family out here, and my mom and my dad and my brother have all passed and I'm the only one left standing here.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a community and a family.
Sure.
And that's exactly what it ends up being.
Yeah.
And we fight like brothers and sisters, and sometimes people want to break their cue over their knee, and that's okay. But
They're just unscrewed. Don't
as long
break
as
it.
it's their own. But I love my pool family. But there's a lot of math and there's a lot of things that kind of go into it, and that's a lot of learning. But it's good to have something like that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I play tabletop games. It's just my version of that, and there's a learning curve too. What kind of... Do you have your own personal stick, I presume?
Yes, I do.
What kind?
I have a McDermott.
Really? Mm-hmm. How much did you invest into that?
Not much.
You just have.
I'm a bargain shopper, man. I'm a cheap bitch.
Do you just have the one then?
No, I have that, and I have a breaking cue. Don't ask me what one that is, because I don't know what. My pool friend Kat actually gave it to me for my 40th birthday. But it's heavy. I like my breaking cue. So what that's for is just breaking the rack.
Yeah.
And I like my bitch to be big at the end, so she's heavy. A lot of other people have a very much lighter cue than I do.
Are they all weighted like that when you?
They're all different weights.
Yeah.
So my McDermott, my lucky cue, that is a 19 ounce, and that is the one I shoot my whole game with.
Okay.
I don't even know. I want to say my breaking cue is around 28 to 30.
Wow, so it's quite a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way
She's heavy in the back.
Yeah.
She got a big butt.
Who doesn't like that?
No, everybody. Everybody loves that.
You would think, yeah.
I said the opposite answer, but you knew what I meant.
Yeah. Do you mind, would we be out of line to talk about your experiences in high school as far as dating girls?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Because I'm curious. Well, I mean, of course I'm curious, but I was also there for it. I'm just interested because I find it fascinating. Because I wish there was more open communication about things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people think things are taboo, and I think it's okay to talk about. I could be wrong. It's an individual thing, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person.
Because I would never
don't want to talk about certain things.
Well, I would never define you by your sexuality whatsoever. Like, I don't care enough about it, to be perfectly honest. But I do think that it's interesting and fun to talk about.
Yeah. No, I'm totally open for that. That's fine. Can I take a potty break first?
A potty break?
Yeah, I didn't go to the bathroom.
We're going to talk about, do you want to just me to sit in the tub and keep going?
Yeah, no. I charge extra for that. Not literally, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. I don't even remember where we left off because
you were asking about my lesbian life.
Oh, yeah. I did want to get into that. Now I just want to talk about Tanya.
You wanted to talk about that so it wasn't taboo, or I don't know, it's not taboo. Well,
I think it's people are curious about it because I want to normalize it, and that could be 100% out of line. Like you said, it's individual. It's up to every individual, and you won't learn if you don't ask.
Right.
And I think if the person's willing, obviously you wouldn't push somebody to be like, hey man, once they're like, I don't know, I get it, like, yeah, then fuck off.
Yeah. I kind of figured we were gonna go that way anyway when I got the phone call from you about the, hey, so, and by the way, utmost respect to you, for real, that literally lit me up, that you hadn't talked to me in years, doing a podcast, heard someone bring me up in a way that you were like, ooh, I don't know if she's okay with that, and you didn't know if I was okay with that, and then you called and asked my permission. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Well, seriously. I wanted to know what you thought of, because I'm like, I could have just edited it, no problem, right? Sight unseen.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, even when the episode will be out by the time this is airing, Josh didn't mean anything malicious.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
He is a sweetheart, despite being very murdery and weird.
No, that's just,
But I felt like, well, it's not really my place to decide. If you are okay with it, then
he wasn't wrong.
Right.
And I just appreciated you giving a shit about that. Like, he didn't. You're right. He didn't do anything, and that was totally fine. And yeah, I was definitely one of the 3. Well, now 4, but she wasn't that then anyway. And I won't say her name yet because I don't know how she feels about it. Right. But anyway, yeah. So no, that was totally respectful, completely, and I admire you for that. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Now let's talk about your dirty.
Yeah, let's talk about dirty little secrets.
Well, you just said too, even about your friend, like, you know. That's kind of the disclaimer I would put on most of this. Anytime we get into any of this kind of thing, even when I talked to my cousin a few episodes ago too, where because she's a black lady, and I'm like, this is not talking about the black experience. This is not the lesbian experience. Right. This is Kim's experience.
Right.
Like, it is not. We are not speaking for an entire group whatsoever.
No, I'm speaking for me. Thank you.
Yeah. Was there a point in your life though where you knew, like, you just felt different, or you were just attracted to girls, or was it just...
No, there was definitely a point in my life. So not to get too much into it, but I had a very interesting, and this is not the one stepdad that my mom had, or the husband my mom had when I was in high school. This was somebody else. But I was raised very harshly by my ex-stepdad from when I was in junior high and younger. So a lot of things just weren't okay.
Right.
Very, very, very racial things, very everything was just not okay. But when I was younger, I would have friends that were girls. And preschool. I was kicked out of preschool for grabbing a girl's vagina.
Really?
So if that wasn't a flag.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
If that wasn't a rainbow. No, I wasn't supposed to do that. And I'm sorry to that girl that, possibly traumatized her because I did that. But that's where I think the cue of, maybe Kim's a little different might have came in. And then...
Really, that young, though, too? Because I feel like...
It was really that young.
Ordinarily, like, it wouldn't even, like, be a thought. But some people just come into their sexuality early, right?
Yeah, I came into mine very early. But as I was getting older, it was still, like, my close girlfriends, we would play house. Mm-hmm. But we would play house. And without like, going into further things, like, it was very much not regular playing house. And it was, mainly when I was, and I didn't think about it like that. I just thought, this was my best friend, like, and then.
Do you remember a point where somebody told you or tried to tell you, like, what you're doing isn't normal?
They probably
quote unquote normal.
I don't think anybody knew about the playing house thing, but as far as the getting kicked out of preschool, that was kind of hard to hide. But yeah, for sure. Like, I would get yelled at for that, and I was definitely disciplined for that, and that sucked. But I mean, there's a thing, and here's the thing: you can't help who you are. Right. You are who you are. And you know more about who you are than anybody else around you. Sure. And coming from our generation and before that, you were taught to be ashamed of that. Yeah. Like, you're supposed to be in this bubble with everybody else. And you're like, but I have my own bubble. Yeah. And my bubble has sparkles and rainbows. Like, we don't like your bubble. We want to pop it. That's basically how it goes from back in the day. And so, like, you were just taught to not be okay with that. And then once you get into your teenage years and everybody becomes some sort of rebel in their teenage years, we just were very intense about it. And, I liked this girl and found out that, and thought she hated me, and found out that she actually liked me too. And that is now one of my best friends, Heather. Yeah. And we ended up.
Who's adorable, by the way.
Oh yeah, she is. She's in a time machine. The woman has not aged once.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Like, you ever look in the mirror and you're like, how is this bitch doing this?
Right.
And I look like this.
Heather, how are you doing this? Actually, I'm going to see her in a few weeks.
Nice.
But so we ended up, starting the date, and me and my mom were always really close. That was like my best fucking friend. Like. Sure. We've been through some shit, and she was more of a friend to me than a mom. Yeah. Not in a good way, in a bad way, but no bad thoughts about my mom. I fucking love her and miss her. Yeah. But I we're in the car, and I was like, I gotta tell you something. Because we just came from my, she is now with, she at that point was now with her new husband, but we both came from what we came from.
Sure.
So I was fucking scared.
Yeah.
Even though she was the most accepting person in the world, it didn't matter.
Right.
Like, that was a scary thing to do.
Yeah.
And so
especially if she was with this guy that had whatever.
Yeah.
Clearly, that was okay with her.
It was not okay with her, actually.
Right, which is why she eventually
But we were trapped in a situation that we could... A very victimized situation. So we broke free. It was basically what happened. And so, so I just like, oh, Mom, how would you feel if I told you I was bi?
Yeah.
With like a kind of look on my face. And she was like, when have I ever had a problem with gay people? And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, I mean, there was this one time and this time and me and this girl in the bush. And I'm just like, really, Mom? All right, so, like I lied. I'm gay and I am dating Heather. And that was, like, not a lot of people have a story like that. I wish a lot of people did.
Yeah, but that was pretty soon, because that was in
Yeah,
Oswego. That was pretty soon after you even came here then.
Yeah, it really was. I think it was within a year.
Yeah.
Within a year, because me and Heather were together for like 3.5 years. I was with her past my graduation. You know, and it was kind of funny because, like, you know, I was with her because I dug her and I liked her, and, you know, like, we were fun. And a lot of people, even back in the day, and I'm sure it's kind of like, I'm sure it's kind of like this now, it was very, very much more acceptable for girls to be gay because, ooh, that's hot, than guys. And that was so fucking stupid.
That's got to be annoying. Also belittling.
Very belittling. Very belittling. I mean, we were also teenagers, so I'm sure we fell into some of those situations. Sure. Like, oh yeah, I can, but you can't. You know, I'm not gonna say I was innocent of that either. Like, we were fun, but it just wasn't fair. You know, we had friends that were, you know, gay guys and on their journey of being trans that just. God, I couldn't even imagine. Like, it wasn't fair.
Yeah, the stuff really had to deal with just didn't make sense. It was always interesting to me too, because I was friends with a lot of that. You know, I don't want to say those people, but those people. And at school, at least, everybody was, and I'm sure a lot weren't, but the people that we knew were out and, like, proud.
Yes.
Like, because it had never even crossed my mind until we're talking right now that you had a coming out story.
I did.
Like, thank God it was nice and simple, and your mom is amazing. Like, because there's nothing more heartbreaking than, like, seeing. I mean, we all know the horror stories. It
would have been probably way different if our life was where it was before we got out.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been probably me being put in the hospital by my ex-stepdad type situation, but luckily,
beat the gay right out of you.
Yeah, probably would have. Yeah, he probably would have. But yeah, I just, you know, everybody has their different experience. Some people weren't as lucky as most people weren't as lucky. Yeah. And I was just blessed. My mom was amazing, and she's watching over this whole conversation right now.
That's good. Maybe that's who's making the noise in your stomach.
Yeah, no, she's not making me hungry. She would have fed me by now. But yeah, so I mean, I was just being who I will always, to the day I die, be me. Yeah. I will always be authentic. I will always be right up front, and I will always be loud about it because I don't know how to not be, and I don't think that would ever change or would want it to.
Yeah. How did that relationship, like, end?
Oh, well, so, you know, sorry, Heather. We were teenagers. Sure. Friggin', it was not a very loyal relationship on one side. And, you know, it just ended. Interestingly,
you guys are still close, so
yes, we are. I mean,
somewhat
seriously,
amicably.
Oh yeah, for sure. By the time, so like mine and hers relationship ended when I was like 19.
Yeah.
After that, I was with one other woman and then the relationship started with my ex-husband. So it was within 2 to 3 years after that I ended up meeting my ex-husband and getting pregnant with David. And
then that takes a big chunk, though, because you're talking over 10 years for that.
Yeah. Well, so when I got pregnant with David, Heather ended up popping back up. I don't remember how. Oh. But she ended up popping back up. And she was like, you know, getting a hold of me. She's like, you know, she wanted to be friends. And I told her flat out, I was like, that has nothing to do with my life right now, girl. Absolutely. Like, that was a different life ago.
Sure.
You know, I'm not mad at you. I'm not holding on you. Like, we were really good friends. And the person that was involved in the not faithfulness actually ended up being one of my best, closest friends after that fact also.
Nice.
So it was really weird how everything kind of swung around, because here's me dating Heather, and then here is, you know, her friend that I have, you know, back in the day, I was a little bit more hood. So, like, I was setting her up at the pool hall in Walgreens over by the old Riverwalk.
Sure.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, over staying in the Walgreens parking lot because you had to walk back out and around it, and there was a wall that came out.
Yeah.
Jumping her ass and, you know, being the hood part of my hippie back then. And then here comes us being, like, 21 years old, and me and Amber end up being best fucking friends. She was there when my third child was born. That's how close me and her, the person who I'm jumping in the Walgreens parking lot. I know you hate this conversation, Amber, but I love you and I'm fucking telling it. You know, all that and everything turned around to we're all best fucking friends.
Yeah.
Because I had said in the beginning, like, we would be if this wasn't the situation.
Sure.
And then the situation had nothing to do with anything anymore, and now we could let that happen.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny how life turned around that way, man. Like,
it's been awesome. It takes a lot of maturity and being able to set your ego aside and be like, look, we were kids. It is what it was.
Right.
Like,
all right, let's be friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what happened. So,
yeah.
I lost Amber in 2012, and then I lost my my ride or die from high school, Amber Butts, June 1st of this year.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
That fucking sucked.
Yeah. It really fucking did.
Yeah.
It was in between a gap. So, you know, anybody who knew me and Amber Butts. Like, I've been told many a times you couldn't say one without the other. Yeah. And that was very true, and that made sense. And, you know, we grew up together. We became adults together. We, you know, lived in different states, but grew as adults together. Sure. But, you know, when you do that and, like, your close friends move far away or life happens, sometimes there's gaps.
Yeah.
Where you don't see or talk to each other because of whatever reason. And then you come right back to it, and then bam, years again. Like, that's kind of how me and Amber Butts were. And when I lost her, we were in one of the gaps. So that made it a little harder.
Yeah, that's unbearable. I've lost too many friends over the last handful of years in general. It's just shitty.
No kidding. And it's almost weird because, like, you know, when Mike Cope passed away, God bless him, it was like a freaking reunion at his services. It was so sad, but yet so, like, good to see. Like, isn't that fucked up?
It is. Well, it's a testament to the person, right?
Yeah.
And so it's bittersweet.
Yes, that's what I mean.
So nice to be like,
such better way of putting
all
that.
these people loved you so much, man.
Yeah.
Like, and we miss you so much.
Right.
But I wish there was any other reason we could have been getting together.
Any other reason I could have seen you guys.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what I meant. But yeah. So, but yeah, me and Heather, to track back a little bit, me and Heather are like, she's one of my closest friends, one of my oldest friends. I've always known her better than she knows herself, and she knows it. But she lives out in Arizona. She's been out there for a while now. Nice. And I'm actually gonna she's bringing me out there to go see her. This happened after we did the plane ticket, so.
Right. When's the flight?
The weekend before Halloween.
Oh, so you're still gonna be in the boot?
Oh yeah.
Das Boot.
Yeah, I call it boot, scoot, and boogie because it's true. Boot to the head. Boot to the head.
When you ended up dating a man and getting pregnant, then was there any point or anybody in your life that was like, I knew you grew out of it?
No.
Did you have to?
Actually, no.
It
I
seems
shocked
like
a lot of people. My mom cried.
I feel like but you have good people around you that are never like, this is weird. They're just like, just do what makes sense. Be happy.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, the first night I came home from, like, hooking up with Adam, my mom, like, cried joys of tears because she thought she'd never have, not that she had a problem with me being, now I'm going to explain this because now it's sounding bad, but not that she had a problem with me being with women or being gay or being who I was, but my mama wanted grandbabies.
Sure. I mean, you can get those as
I know, but she wasn't thinking that way.
Yeah.
And so the first day I came back and she knew I had spent the night, you know, this bitch at 7 a.m., she's in tears of joy calling my grandma, Kim was with a guy. I'm like, Mom, are you fucking serious right now? She's with a guy. I might have grandbabies. I'm like, you know I could do that for you either way, right? Like, and then the day I came home pregnant, it was the same thing.
Yeah. God, I bet she was
She
stoked.
did the telephone line. She started calling, like, the tree call from back in the day at school, where you call the one parent and then they got to call the next one. She did that with the family. and then, I think everybody was, like, not that it really mattered, but, like, I would run into, like, friends or people from school or around life, and, they see me with a baby, and they're just like, what? What is that? Like, damn well what that is.
That's what I mean.
That
like,
is my child.
It's okay to talk about. We don't have to play dumb.
Yeah, right.
If you're curious,
he
ask.
exists. Just ask me. It's fine. I've always been one of those really open people too. Like maybe it's just because of the life I lived in my childhood or whatever, but I've always told people, don't afraid to ask me anything, because honestly, I'm probably the most open, understanding, and if you say something off the wall, I'm going to bounce back with humor, but very good humor about it, and I'm just easy to freaking, like, you can say the most fucked up shit to me.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like, not like, I don't know, you can ask me some shit and I don't care. I will tell you, like...
Yeah. Well, I think we're very open people, and I know we alluded to it and we don't have to get into it, but we came from where we came from, right?
Yep.
And the houses that we were originally raised in kind of makes us immune to anybody talking bad about us and trying to hurt us verbally.
You have to go through a lot of you have to go through a lot of violence, abuse, and fucked up situations to be the loving people that we are today.
Exactly. And
you need to know some dark shit to have the hearts we have today.
You're not gonna make us blush, bud. Like, it's not gonna happen. So after you get divorced, have you dated since then? I know you're obviously your mom, and you do have 3 children.
Yeah.
Have you dated at all since the divorce?
Yeah, I've dated here and there.
You guys have been apart now for 10 years, right?
Yeah. So the first time I dated somebody was about 3 years after we separated, which actually kickstarted the, hey dude, you gotta sign the papers. It's kind of real now.
Yeah.
It was real anyway. And then... just a little bit here and there. I don't know. I'm pretty independent. So especially when my kids were younger, I didn't want to be the revolving door mom.
Yeah.
I don't need my kids to meet people that aren't going to stay.
Right. Well, yeah, and you wouldn't want to bring somebody around.
Right.
But then it becomes, well, how do you hang out with somebody?
I got visitation weekends with their dad.
There you go, yeah.
I got lucky
but even that,
one.
It's hard to build a relationship.
Every other weekend's helped.
Yeah, but it's hard to build a relationship every other weekend.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, for sure. So... No, absolutely. And my kids are my priority, so it's like, that didn't even matter. It just is what it is. I'm very particular with who's around them, even at their ages now. I got one that's definitely an adult, a baby adult, an infant adult.
20 though, right?
He just started being an adult, so he is an infant about it.
He's still a little fetus.
He's a fetus adult baby. But even to this day, it's like, I'm real particular who's around my kids and my family. It's like, if you are not going to be a permanent thing in my life, then you're probably never going to meet my kids.
Yeah.
I'm a single mom. I'm a mom. Everybody does what they got to do, but nobody really comes around.
Yeah.
And I probably dated 3 people, maybe 4, but I don't really count one of them. Since the divorce, since the separation.
Sure.
And one of them was for about 2 years, and that was just recently, and that ended badly as well. So I just decided that I like to keep my own peace. And
starting to see a pattern.
A little bit. So basically my motto is, if you don't bring me more peace than I bring myself, you out.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, it seems like such a simple thing, but you also might have poor taste.
Yeah, maybe. Thanks. Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome. I've just come to point out the obvious.
I just feel like I have a big heart, and I care a lot, and I care more than...
What does that, like, how does that show up in your life? Being overtly empathetic.
It's just, sometimes it fucks me over, but then sometimes it also helps other people.
You were telling me a story, some stories before we started recording that fit into that perfectly.
Are you talking about the someone that stayed with me for a little bit?
Yeah, so you've named multiple people that have stayed with you for a bit.
Yeah. I had, actually, I've had a few friends that have stayed with me, especially since I moved in this house. But my friend Amber lived with me for a while. One in particular person, I actually don't mind bringing that up. Man, I have a heart, especially for people who have been in my life before.
Yeah.
It's like if I see you struggling,
Right.
I don't want someone to. It's kind of like you've been through some shit and you don't want to see someone going through it or getting affected by that.
And there's a line here too where it's like, I know what it's like to be hurt and suffer. I don't want anybody to feel that.
Right.
But at the same time, I can't enable you
Right.
to keep hurting yourself.
Right.
And that's a real fine line to walk.
Right. And that's kind of something I went through with our good friend Nate from high school. If you know him, you know him. I'll just put that name out there.
Fair enough.
So this was almost 5 years ago, and I was like driving down up Galena coming home, and it was on Galena Orchard, and I seen an old buddy from high school standing there with a sign, needing homeless, need help.
Yeah.
I realized who it was real quick, and I was like, dude, come here. Like, get in my car. Come here. And I took him home, I fed him, and basically he was trying to go to detox, and he was struggling with a life that a lot of us had struggled with before in one way or another.
Yeah.
And I had some foots in doors that I knew some people that might be able to help him. And I also had my very dear friend who just passed, Amber, here, living here as well, who also knew this person. And so basically I took him in my house. I fed him. We had a family dinner because I know he hadn't had one.
Yeah.
And so I made a family dinner. I got a hold of my friend Jen, who actually started a Alliston Cares Foundation because of her daughter who died of a heroin overdose, to help other people who are trying to get into a real sober living home, not the one who not the kind that actually killed her daughter.
Yeah.
Another story, another time. But I had a foot in that door. I'm like, Jen, can you help my friend? So for days, almost a week, we waited for like a bed to open up for him. It ended up being in another state. It ended up being a few days. He was here, and that was fine and the only reason why that was fine, and I know what place he was in, and he was, doing like the not outs and stuff like that, but I also had my friend staying in my mini house shed in the backyard. So when the kids were home, he would be able to, be better, he'd be sick out there.
Sure.
Just, I couldn't just not, I couldn't just drive away that day. So anyway, we ended up finding him a bed, and Jen helped him get there because it was somewhere like another state.
Yeah.
And at that point it was like, look, man, like I seen you. You're an old good friend of mine, and this is all I can do.
Yeah. Also, such a good fucking dude. Like, if you could catch him clean.
Yeah.
One of the best dudes ever.
Yeah.
I remember even back in high school, he showed up to a couple of Hapkido classes I was doing at the high school.
Yeah.
Like, he was always just such a cool cat. Like, and we run into him all the time too at punk rock shows.
Oh yeah.
Just one of the best dudes.
He really was. He was. I don't know what's going on with him now, or even if he's still here.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope he is too.
I don't. It sucks, but I genuinely don't know.
Well, the last I heard of him after that was a old friend from high school, Amanda, had hit me up and sent me something on Facebook, and it was a video, and I can't remember what the guy's name was or what his, I don't know if it's a podcast or whatever, but he's basically out on Skid Row, and he takes in addicts to do interviews with them to see how they're doing. He tries to help them, stuff like that, all different situations, just like, and he got Nate.
Yeah.
And it had a whole episode of him.
That's wild.
And I was just like, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't good. But, Yeah, it was the last time I have heard of him. And the last time I saw him was when he was here, and that was literally the last day I saw him was the day before or 2 days before I lost my mom. So,
so that was still like over 5 years ago.
yeah, December 23rd, 2018 is when I lost my mom, and it was that Friday, so it was the 21st.
Well, it's coming up on 5 years then. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like I said, I'm hopeful, but I just don't know.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that just goes for our whole group. Some of us, either, like how you said it, some of us can hide it well now and function through life, and some of us just couldn't.
Right.
Or didn't, or whatever. Like, I mean, some of us made it, some of us didn't. I mean, it's just crazy because we know what we did.
Yeah. Well, and nobody's above anybody else.
No, not at all. Not by far. Especially me. Not at all.
It's just a matter of like
luck of the draw almost.
I'm glad we're all here.
Yes.
We're missing a lot of people that it hurts that we're missing.
Yes. God, ain't that the truth.
Yeah. So what do you think is next for you?
You're asking squirrel? No,
I mean, just keep living.
I mean, you know what? Eventually, I will not be in Illinois. I know that. That's definitely a goal. I don't know where my home is. It's not Illinois.
Do you have any ideas?
Somewhere by water.
Think you can pull at least
somewhere by water, and it's not going to be Florida. It's not going to be.
Don't go to Florida.
Louisiana. It's not going to be any of the places that anybody goes to.
You have to start doing meth if you want.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not a Mexican American. I'm okay. Honestly, I just want to grow my business. I want to make sure my kids are good. I want to just keep on trucking, man, really.
Yeah. Do you think
I'd like to 100% work for myself.
What's the name of your photo company?
Right now it's Photo Shots for photography, but that's going to end up changing, but I'm not ready to release the name yet.
Photo Shots, which is literally your last name.
Literally my last name, photography. And I'm a bartender and I'm a pool player, so how about that?
Come on. Grow up.
No, never.
What, you think you'd change the name though?
No, I'm definitely changing the name. I'm gonna do something in memory of my mom.
In what way?
Of the name of my photography business?
Yeah, what's your mom's name?
Her name is Deborah Alice.
Would you tie in something like that, or?
Kind of. I'm doing something with her middle name.
Alice? Mm-hmm. Alice Smith?
No. No, thank you.
Be the most generic name of all time.
Oh, no, dude. Come on. It's going to be way more creative and magical than that.
Yeah. Alice's Shots.
No.
Well, that'll be exciting, actually, because like we were talking about just earlier, you've got the creative eye and the brain as well. I think that'll be really cool. Do you think you'll acquire more equipment, or just... is there a version?
I've got a lot of equipment.
Yeah, it's all in this
You
pile.
haven't even seen my car. I have a whole studio in my car right now. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting next to a giant pile.
Yeah, I have a lot of things. Some of these things are office things. Don't judge all of them off bat. Like I said, when my oldest son had moved out and moved back in within 4 or 5 months. Yeah. So when he moved out, this was one of my other kids' rooms. We put them down in where my oldest son was in the basement, and I made this my office. Mm. So now all of my photography stuff and all of my office stuff, all of the things are in here until I can get my 12 bags of backdrops into my garage.
Yeah. Are you going to move that shooting area to the garage?
No.
Or just store them there?
Yeah, it's just going to...
So this is going to always be your shooting area?
Yeah. This is going to open up way more. I'm going to have a hanging chair right here. All of this is going to be open. My desk moves, so that way if I have to do anything where I need a little bit more space that way, or I'm doing boudoir or something, I have the space for it, and then that can... it's very much multifunctional. Do
you think... just had a complete brain fart.
Yeah, your turn.
I'm catching it. I've been close to you too long.
My squirrels have squirrels, and now they're playing with your squirrels.
Now I'm riddled with it.
You're riddled with ADHD.
Yeah. Do you think there's a version of this to the next level, or do you think you have enough?
Oh, the
to
next
just take it
level would
wherever
be
you want?
literally having my own studio business space.
Is that something that you want to do, or
Eventually,
would you rather
yeah.
keep it in house?
No, I don't want to keep it in house all times, but no, I would definitely like to have my own portrait studio.
Yeah.
Like my own personal studio. So eventually that will happen.
I did a podcast with my friend Melissa a while back, and when she was setting up, she's like, "Send me your headshot so I can put it on the thing." And I'm like, "I don't have that."
I got you.
So I ended up sending her like some 20-year-old picture.
No,
This is the closest thing.
I could do a headshot for you today.
Great.
Like
well,
that.
Yeah, but I still look like this, so unless you're gonna
Fair enough, Tim. My turn.
see, we're a bad influence on each other.
You just like shit talking.
Yeah, well, it feels right.
Fuckery. It does. I wouldn't be me if I didn't talk shit. You can ask anybody who knows
I couldn't
me.
imagine not taking the piss a little bit.
Yeah, right. Just a wee bit.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I'm curious to see where you end
I've always
up.
been a shit talker. I've just evolved in it.
Yeah, you're very mouthy.
Yeah, always.
People are like, "What about Kim?" Like, she's very mouthy.
Yes,
and
always.
loud.
Yes, I was born with bullhorn. I'm well aware. Talk about being self-aware. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm
Even
excited.
people nowadays, I tell them, I'm like, ask anybody who's known me my whole life. This is it. This is what you get.
Do you think you'll ever have another relationship then, though? Like,
Maybe one day.
you could probably care less, just kind of as it goes.
It's just at this point in my life, it's like,
Not a priority.
I mean, it would be nice to definitely have a partner. It's not easy being a single mom, no family, all the things I said before,
It's
and
nice to
doing it on
kiss.
my own. But
I feel like it's nice
it's
to
just
kiss
nice
people.
to connect with people. I'm sure at some point in time down the road, maybe, but I don't, whatever happens is how that goes.
Maybe when you're 50.
When I'm 50, my new 30.
Yeah.
Maybe. That could be true.
Yeah.
That could be true. But right now, I'm just really just trying to, I've been going on a self-love journey.
Yeah?
Really. Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going. I mean, I think it's going good. It's a roller coaster, but
Yeah. It's ebbs and flows, right?
yeah.
Like, not for nothing, and I hate to keep going back there, but like when you come from the kind of places we come from,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
No.
And like even when somebody is like says something nice about you, and you're like,
You're like, that's a little shady to me.
Yeah.
What do you mean that I look good? What does that mean?
Yeah, or like you throw. That's where we.
What do you mean I'm nice?
That's usually where our defense mechanism will be to take the piss and make a joke,
Right.
or make fun of them
That's right.
immediately.
So it's funny because this is how comedians. Most comedians have a really fucked up backstory. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, we would
but
be
guess
good
what?
comedians.
Oh yeah, I've been told a few times. I'm like, I don't think I could write it down. It's got to be like.
See, that's funny to me because
it just comes to me.
I think I could write out bits, but I don't know that I could perform them.
I could. You write the bits, I'll perform them.
Perfect.
Since I'm the loud one.
You are the loud one. Yeah. People are like, she's loud, but I think that quiet guy is the funny one.
Yeah. I think he has something to do with it. Looking sus.
Super sus.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah. I think that's it.
All right.
I'm
I
excited.
think this is good.
I'm excited for where you're going next. I'm excited for you to get the hell out of Illinois on your terms when you're ready. I've always admired your photography stuff.
Thank you.
I 100% will do headshots.
I got you.
When I don't look, I just
Go
work.
shave. I got you.
Oh, I was thinking, wait till my beard grows more.
Oh, okay, fair. Hey, I love beautiful men.
Yes.
Beautiful. I have a thing for beards.
I never heard that before, and I like that.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Tim, you're beautiful.
Oh, I appreciate that. You're lying, but I appreciate it.
I said fuck you too. That was my ADHD.
No, it's fine. After today, I'm riddled with it too because of
it's contagious.
It's highly contagious.
Hey, at least the good vibes come with it.
That's true. I do appreciate the good vibes. I appreciate you finding the time. Thank you so much for letting me come by and talk to you.
Thank you for coming.
It's good to reconnect and to chew some fat. We should have made fun of Josh more because he doesn't know how to follow instructions.
Yeah, what do you mean?
This is
what was he supposed to do?
Before every show.
Call me a lesbian in my face?
Before every show, I'm like, what don't you want to talk about, and don't use proper nouns. 3 minutes in, this dude's like, that lesbian chick, Kim, you know. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. He did it 4 more times. He named people. Like, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, Josh.
I tried.
Yeah. It's fine. Like, again, certain people it's fine, but certain people it's, you don't know.
Right. Josh, you got my permission to call me the lesbian from Oswego. It's fine.
Boom. Change your Facebook profile. That's what it's called. All right. We're out of here. Thank you so much.
Deuces.